What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, my friends. It is the 12th day of October, and here we are with about 12 hours left in the day, sitting at 112K. It's a lot of 12s right there. I do believe, absolutely, I believe that we found our low, and I want to reiterate some things before we get too much into the video here. Some things that I said back here when the day closed, right? I said at this point here, that this drop was not done, that we likely had more to go, but I also said that I think the low was in, right? So what I meant was, just because we have a massive wick like this, don't everybody be getting excited thinking that we're going to move up higher. We're probably going to consolidate, and we'll probably move lower. I even said we'd probably go below 110K again. We actually did go just below there. I thought that it might be a little bit more dramatic. This is a bit of a mild recovery. But I also did say back here, because it was Friday, that it was the beginning of the weekend. It's Saturday, Saturday, Sunday we have to look forward to. Monday is Columbus Day. Might be a boring weekend. Typically weekends are boring, and typically on holiday weekends things are actually boring. People expect things to be dramatic, but they're not. Columbus Day, though, the markets are open. The stock markets are open, so I'm wondering if we'll have a boring Monday or not. I don't think that we will. I'm assuming back here, and this is exactly what I was saying back here that I'm going to tell you now, is that I'm assuming the stock markets are actually going to have a good day on Monday. I think that a lot of people are looking for reasons for why this drop happened, and at this point, it's been a couple days now that the dust has settled. I think that we're all aware that this was largely market manipulation, and it had little to do with the tariffs. It had little to do with any other kind of negative news article that you might be reading out there. It was mainly and undoubtedly because of market manipulation. The exchanges were hunting your stop losses. They were clearing out your liquidation levels so that they could take all your money. And then people are like, where does the money go whenever it gets liquidated? That's such a silly question. Where does the money go when you lose money on an exchange? It goes to the exchange. Maybe in some portions it goes to traders who are on the right side of the coin as well, but it largely goes to the exchange, right? When you lose money at the casino, where does the money go, right? It doesn't go to the person who's making money at the poker table. Maybe a portion of it does, but it goes to the house. It goes to the house. It's not a far stretch of the imagination as to what happened here, where the money went. Okay, it was a liquidity grab event, and that's nothing more, nothing less. People are comparing this to COVID. They don't remember COVID, right? Let's actually look at this real quick. BTC USD. They don't remember COVID. They don't even remember August of last year. It's crazy. The ability to forget is insane, right? Like this drop that we had back here in August, this was worse. This was August 2024 was a worse drop, by all means. The day was a bigger drop, the overall drop was a bigger drop. It was a much bigger drop, let alone COVID. I don't remember people comparing it to COVID back then. Or this drop here overall was more intense. This drop, our end of bull market drop, was way more intense than what we just saw. It was the biggest liquidation event that we've ever seen in history. But COVID was way. Look at COVID. We were down 38% in a day. Bitcoin was down 7%. Knock it off comparing this to COVID. It's nothing. It's nothing like COVID. No. Bitcoin dropped this much. Altcoins dropped a terrible amount too. The only thing comparable might be the amount of dropping that the altcoins did, but it was so fast because it was just a stop hunt. It was just if you blinked, you missed the lows that these altcoins hit. So, anyways, moving on. Let's talk about Bitcoin. That's why we're here. My theory is this, right? There's people who think that we dropped because of tariffs. There's people who are new in crypto or don't know what they're doing in crypto who might be thinking, oh, you know what? We're probably going to wait until the stock market opens. They're going to see that the tariffs, that Trump is announcing 150% tariffs on China, and we're going to get a drop in the stock market. Therefore, crypto is going to drop too. I think they're going to be sourly mistaken because we've seen tariffs. We've seen tariffs throughout this whole freaking cycle, you guys, since Trump was inaugurated, right? This is the first mention of tariffs back here. Whenever he got inaugurated, we dropped because we were uncertain. Tariffs were existent throughout this whole phase here. New tariffs were put on throughout this whole phase here. Tariffs were taken off too, but we had tariffs against China throughout basically this whole phase here. Okay? We've had them throughout all of them. I think we even like settled some tariffs with China, or like we became more friendly here. Maybe it was here, and we didn't really move up that much. I'm just saying tariffs were good. Tariffs are good. Tariffs have been so good for the economy that we're actually going to pass out stimulus checks, it looks like, going into the end of this year or maybe even 2026. So I think that when the stock market opens up, sorry to bore you with the T word there, when the stock market opens up, I think that we're going to see an unfazed stock market. The stock market's going to probably, maybe they open up to the downside and then they move up, they close the day green, but I think we're going to get a green Monday in the stock market. And with that, I'm assuming that that's going to promote strength in the crypto markets as well, and we're going to see some recovery going into Monday. I also said back here that my thoughts were, yes, we'd go down a little bit more, not that we would get a lower low, but that we'd go lower than where we are now, right? And here we are, probably even below 110K. We went just below 110K. I also said, because we did our analysis on this, on how these drops perform, typically when you do recover, you move up. You move up a good bit, and then you kind of move sideways and consolidate. So I would assume we move up to about 115, 120K, maybe even just above there, perhaps tomorrow, perhaps on Monday, genuinely perhaps tomorrow. Between now and then, we might move up, and then we probably consolidate for about a week. Going into the end of the month, I do believe Bitcoin will be reaching for new all-time highs again. If it's not at new all-time highs by the end of the month of October, certainly in November, I think that we'll be there. This is but a speed bump. It was a massive stop hunt. That's all it was. And it was the largest one in history, to be fair. But looking at this here on a 1 hour time frame, the RSI is bearish, very bearish. You're in a moment where you are postured bullishly, but overall you can see that you're bearish because you have just a fantastic trend of lower highs and lower lows, right? Overall you're bearish. You're actually at a point where you'd expect to reject right now. Let's see if we can find some things that disagree with that, because I'd like to see you move up. The price action to me even looks like you want to move up. Let's look at our liquidation levels on that note. What are these? That's the most, by the way, that's the most shorts I've ever seen on XRP in my life. That's crazy. I'm sure there's been more. It's just the most I've seen. Bitcoin over the past 30 days, 20 billion in shorts. Yeah, we're ready to move up. The last time we had 20 billion in shorts, that was, you want to know where the last time I saw 20 billion in shorts was for Bitcoin? Looking at the daily time frame, it was down here. The time before that, it was down here. And here we are. If we take the wick away, if we got rid of this wick, look at this. We've actually got higher lows, right? This is a scam wick. It's fake price action. It happened, but it's fake price action. Not for the people who got liquidated, though. RIP to any gains you had. Stochastics look bullish, and the MACD looks bullish as well. The liquidations on Bitcoin over the past day, there are more longs than shorts, but barely, just barely. So we might clear out. We might see a little bit of volatility over the coming days, but I do expect that we're going to move up. The 1 hour time frame overall looks bullish. I just don't like the RSI. This makes you think that you're going to reject here. But let's see. Let's look at the 4 hour time frame and see if that disagrees. 4 hour time frame now. The RSI is pretty damn bearish here as well. You've got a very nice trend to the downside. Lower lows, lower highs. The last trend that we had that was down right here. Lower highs, lower lows. You did form bullish divergence. You had these higher lows right here before you broke out. Okay, bullish divergence there before you broke out. That divergence came in right here, right from these lows. You do have some bullish divergence, or no, you don't. You don't have any bullish divergence down here, and that's fine. I like to see bullish divergence whenever we finish out these trends, but it's not a requirement. I mean, you had a downtrend here and you finished with bullish divergence. Same thing here and you finished with bullish divergence. It doesn't need to happen, but it does happen the majority of the time. Maybe this is one of the times that it doesn't happen. However, the RSI, again, being in a downtrend, we're at kind of a make it or break it moment right now, right? We're either going to, we're either going to continue with the trend and come down and we'll form a higher low in which we get bullish divergence, or we're going to break it, and then in which case we should be moving up higher. And let's see, how high would we go? I don't want to take the wick. I want to see the wick, and then I want to see this area here. Let's just see what, I would think that we move up to the golden ratio of this zone here from a high to a low. We move up to about 120K. That'd be my thoughts, where this prior area of support was right here. I think that that's where we move up, and we could move up there as early as tomorrow, genuinely. If it's based off of this wick, which is possible, I just don't like it. And this is Binance too. It's on the Binance chart. Let's put it on the like the overall index here. Let's see. Come on now. From a high to a low, we draw that. I like this. I think we're showing respect here. Maybe that would put us at 118 to 119K. I just don't know. Do I take the wick into context? Do I not? I feel confident enough to say that we will go at least to 118K, if not likely 120, 121K, somewhere in that range. Over the coming days, we should be there, I think, this next week, right? This is the end of the week right now. It is Sunday. We have 11 hours, 39 minutes left in this week and in this day. I think we'll come up a little bit by the end of the day, and then next week should be a green week. I just don't think we'll be at new all-time highs next week. I think we'll be at new all-time highs, perhaps, hopefully, at the end of the month. We have 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks left in October. Looking at this on the 4-hour again, the stochastics actually do look bullishly postured. Very bearish overall, but right here you look like you're doing something different, like you want to break out, which gives me hope that we might break out here on the RSI as well. And the MACD is about to cross green. So there are some things to look forward to right now, and I think that just looking at the price, it makes sense that we'd probably come back up. Instead of using this fib, let's try using a different fib. Maybe we can use this high to low here and just see we're at the 236. That would put us right at 117, 119K, something like that. So that makes sense at that golden ratio there. What about a larger fib than this even? Let's take this high to low over here from the massive January 20th to April 7th low that we had. Wow, all the way from the 1272 down to the 886. That's actually a very bullish thing. Trust when I tell you, I've been doing this for 10 years now. Fibonacci analysis is really my bread and butter here. Whenever you hit the 1272, if you pull back and you bounce off the 886, you typically do just move right up to the golden ratio. Typically. We're on the weekly time frame though, so moving right up to the golden ratio right afterwards could be like a month from now. Right. I do expect that we're going to see 138K. I do expect Bitcoin will see 180K. In fact, I think that this whole move overall is going to stop at about 180K. I'm surprised we stopped here as long as we have. But 180K or more genuinely. And this should happen, I think, either by the end of November or certainly by the end of the year. This is definitely a speed bump. Looking at the weekly time frame here, we're at the 50. So here's a good area to bounce actually if we close here. Stochastic, same thing. And the MACD is actually bullish overall, so who cares? Even though we've got red on the histogram right now, I think that we've seen this play out before, and we've basically been consolidating for months now. So I think we're ready to move up. Daily time frame, we even have a higher low in the RSI, higher lows in the stochastics. The stochastics are the one thing on the daily time frame that make me think we could go lower. Typically, if you're looking at all these moments where we're from the downside going to the upside, we don't see you bouncing. I mean, at the 50, sure, you don't really bounce from this area right here. It doesn't really happen. That's one time there. And then we look at all these other times. None of these other times did you bounce there, right? You bounced here after you were oversold though, and you still got oversold still, right? If we're looking at this over here now, that's exactly where you are now. It's not that you can't bounce here, but it's does it sustain, does it last, or do we go lower, right? Keep your head on a swivel. It's very possible that Bitcoin still goes below 110K again. Okay, these indicators again on the 4-hour and the 1-hour, they're suggestive that we move higher, but there are things that say we're at a point of resistance. So if by the time, let's go over some if-then statements. Okay, if by the time you're watching this video, Bitcoin is back down to like below 111K, we are probably going below these lows. Does that mean that we're going below these lows? No. It just means we're probably going to go down to about 109K, 107K, something like that, in that area there, and then we'll probably come back up. Okay. That would be my guess. If we go below 111K again on let's say a 4-hour closing basis, closing below 111K, I would think that's enough to believe that we do go lower. We form some bullish divergence, some real bullish divergence, and then we move up from there. But overall, you guys, I'm very bullish on Bitcoin. I'm extremely bullish on Bitcoin. I think that everything's fine. Let's see. What's the Fear and Greed Index say? Let's see what the market says. Fear. Lots and lots of fear, you guys. We're at some of the highest levels of fears that we've seen, like in months, actually. In months, hold on. And all we did was put in I guess technically a lower low, but I'm counting it as a higher low. That was just mania, fat fingering BS, panic selling. Even if we did put in a lower low, it was at this point where we put in a lower low, that's when we moved up. It was at this point when we put in a lower low, that's when we moved up, right? It was at this point in the consolidation phase, we found the lowest low, that's when we moved up. So I'm thinking we're going to be moving up here pretty soon. I do expect a spectacular reaction. I just don't think that by the end of this week we're going to be at new all-time highs. Maybe the end of next week or the following week, but I got nothing else for you guys. Ultimately, I believe Bitcoin's on a path that's going to take us to 180K by the end of November or by the end of December. And by the end of the cycle, we are still very much anticipating that we will see a $500,000 Bitcoin. I don't have anything else for you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, hit the like button. Please subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Take care of yourselves. All right, bye-bye.